Do you actually think that the OKC Thunder is going to make it all the way to the Western Conference? Do you think they fear the OKC Thunder having home court? Really?
I don't
this
think
might
they
be the
fear
weakest.
anything.
This might be the weakest number one seed in the
wow.
NBA.
The disrespect
in a
from
very
the
long
city
time.
is
That's
crazy,
very disrespectful,
dudes.
Shannon. That's very disrespectful. Let me the
one.
weakest number one seed.
Weakest.
Oklahoma City,
Yes.
led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
Yes.
the MVP.
Who's 22 well behind his ear. Smell like Similac.
Quick take, let's get it. All right, the HOFer, this one's coming to you.
Yes.
You had that hot take about the Thunder. Now they've swept the Pelicans. But Shay, have you had a change of heart?
Now, I mean, I saw a guy sitting on the bench with a varsity jacket on, named Zion Williamson. Did they have him?
Yeah, no, they
Did we
didn't.
see what Zion looked like?
Well, I mean, they had him on the bench.
Yeah.
In nice outfits.
Did you see what he
All right, well, Zion didn't get injured in the final 5 minutes of the Lakers play-in. Pretty sure the Lakers would have lost.
looked like
Just saying.
before he got injured against the Lakers? They probably would have had to see the Lakers. Look, they played extremely well.
No,
but
he
I don't
admitted
think
that.
anybody thought the Pelicans was going to put up much of resistance without Zion Williamson. Give them credit. They're playing extremely well. We know what Shea is. Because, hey, he's in the MVP conversation. He's probably going to finish second
My vote.
or third.
You ain't got my vote.
Yeah,
you got
you got your vote. You wasted it. But
No, I ain't wasted.
Yeah, you wasted
Ain't wasted. Just because you don't win it don't mean you wasted the vote. It's going to be a race.
It ain't going to be no race. Did you see what Jokic did last night?
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that.
What about-
Let me say this to you about Zion. I want to give Zion some love.
Right.
I was very, very proud of him and how he played against the Lakers, the game he got injured,
Yeah,
the second
40.
game, the first playing game. The brother showed up.
Yes.
And that's all you need to see. That Zion Williamson, if he shows up, New Orleans got a future. But I could rub it in considering the way the Pelicans tried to come at me.
Yeah.
When I pointed out how you got as many playoff series wins as names in the last 22 years,
Right.
and then you gonna show up and get swept. You couldn't win in one game. One game.
One.
I could get on them.
You
But
let it go?
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let because I'm a nice guy.
Yeah,
I'm a nice guy. Am I a nice guy? Tell the world, Shannon, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice
I
guy.
got-
Okay, so they're kind of just bantering about nonsense, but I wanted to talk about OKC with all this disrespect because I've been banging this drum that OKC is great, but I always try to be as clear-sighted as I can be. I try to really see the reality of every situation. And I try not to just do these hot takes where I'm like, I told you OKC is coming. They swept, the Pelicans. They're coming. Let's go. No one can stop them. And it's like, that's inauthentic to me. And I think that's also just not the reality. I think OKC is coming. I don't know if it's this season quite yet. Because they did. They beat, the Pelicans, who were the lowest seed. And they did it without Zion. So that matters. That of course matters. And they had a couple tough, there were some games that the Pelicans were in, the Pelicans could have even just won that first game, quite honestly. That first game was the most exciting game I watched all year, except for maybe now since last night, the Lakers versus Denver. But I mean, that was a wildly exciting game, and it's to be expected. To take away nothing from OKC, I think OKC is great. And I think OKC beats the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Lakers. I think they beat the Dallas Mavericks, a Kawhi-less Clippers. And I think where now these teams are start to get interesting is Denver, Minnesota, and OKC. It's those three teams. Those three teams are something that I can't make my mind up against. It's hard for me to see OKC beating Denver, mainly because Denver has all the experience. Denver has the experience. They have the size. They truly know how to win these difficult, high-intense, really matter do-or-die games because they've done it and they've won a championship. That experience is absolutely invaluable. There's no question about it how important that is. No question. So they have that leg up. And their stars are truly in their prime and mature. And they're not too old. So it's the perfect age of youth, of being in your prime, and the experience of actually being able to win. The Timberwolves and OKC do not necessarily have that perfect balance. They're up and coming. Ant is up and coming. SGA is up and coming. Now, this may be their official welcome party, but I'm just not so sure. I'm not counting OKC out, and I'm definitely not counting out Minnesota, because Minnesota's, they're playing the Nuggets. And I think that's going to be a wildly awesome series. I think Minnesota has a true chance at beating the Nuggets. No question. I think there's a real chance, because I think if LeBron James was 5 years younger, the Lakers beat the Nuggets. So I think with OKC, I think if they play against the Mavs, they beat the Mavs. There's not even a question in my mind, because OKC is better coached. They're more mature, even though they're younger in a lot of pieces. They're more mature. They're more serious about winning, and their star, SGA, compared to Luka, is light years ahead in terms of maturity and seriousness about winning. Luka is still carrying on every 5 seconds, yelling at the refs, getting technicals in like 1-point games, just not doing winning basketball. Luka's unbelievable. Luka's absolutely amazing. It's his immaturity. And Kyrie vanishes. Kyrie only starts the ball when they're down by 30, which is, I got news for you. It's very easy to play and play fearless when you're already down by 30 or if you're up by 30. But he can never seem to do it when it matters. But anyway, I digress. So I think OKC has a true chance at getting to the Western Conference Finals. If they play the Clippers and Kawhi is just not able to play, I think that would be OKC's series to lose. I think I wouldn't count the Clippers out, because James Harden seems to be rewinding the clock a little bit for him, and Paul George is unbelievable. Make no mistake about how good he is. And then the rest is like, what the heck is Westbrook going to do? What is Man going to do? What are these other players going to do? How much can you rely on them? They seem to be growing a lot as well. But I just think that if they had Kawhi, and Kawhi was like truly healthy and not this half and half type of nonsense, then I would have to give it up to them, because they would just have the experience and the skill set that should overwhelm OKC come time playoffs if they all play it, at their capable levels. But since it seems like Kawhi won't be able to go, I'm confident in saying that OKC will beat the Mavericks, or the Mavericks or the Clippers. So I'm really excited now for these next 2 series in the West. I think it's wildly exciting games ahead of ourselves. I think Minnesota Nuggets could go 7 games, and I think OKC versus whoever they play could go 7 games. I really do. I love OKC. I think it might be a year too early. And my concern is that SGA, since he's a smaller guy, it's just a little bit harder to really take over a game consistently, especially come time playoffs. It's why the true leaders of the NBA over the years have always been a little bit bigger and stronger. The Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, and it's why someone like a Steph Curry, it's a little bit harder for him to consistently be able to truly take over the game. But he has the luxury of also being the world's greatest shooter. And if you're not also the world's greatest shooter, it just becomes a lot harder. Again, we've seen this consistently, that the main true guys that can consistently take over the game are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". They're just big, strong. They can not only go offense, but they can now lock down when they need. LeBron James in his prime would have been able to step up and say, get out of here. I got Jamal. I got Jokic. Like, I'm the dude. Like, and you can't do that now at this age. And so that is something that you have to kind of knock SGA for. And I love SGA. I love OKC. So if you're an OKC fan, do not take anything what I'm saying as any type of hate. I absolutely love them. I'm cheering for them, and I want to see them succeed. Truly. Like, I think it's awesome. But it just seems like too many things have to go right for OKC. And come time playoffs, there's moments when you just have to muscle up. I am bigger and stronger than you. Get out of my way. And we saw when Jokic is a very finesse player, but when it's time, when there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left and he needs a bucket, what does he do? He just uses his weight. I know there's a lot of weight behind him in his height, and he just pushes, backs down AD and then goes in for like a layup. LeBron James too. When LeBron James needs to get to the hoop, what does he do? He just mans up and becomes a freight train. And when you don't have that size and strength in the playoffs, you're now relying on the finesse. You're relying on, do they hit that open shot? Is Steph Curry going to go 3 for 10 or 6 for 10 from 3? 6 for 10, you win the game, you win the series, let's go. 3 for 10, even 4 for 10, You guys lost by 4. Oh my God, if only he knocked down that 1-3, it rimmed out. That's what happens. And so that's where I think OKC is at this point. There's just too many other players that you have to rely on to get the job done that I think things can get a little tough. And that's why I think in the future, especially as Chet gets better and better and better and can get more physical, and I don't think he'll ever be as big as, say, like a Giannis. I think he probably has a chance to be a little bit thicker than a KD, but he's not going to be, turn into an Embiid or a Giannis in terms of like physical strength and muscle. Based off of me just observing his body and looking at the amount of muscle that he has now, it's hard to see of him getting really ever that big. But I think he'll get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, as same thing as Wembanyama. I think Wembanyama has a chance to get a little bit more stronger than Chet. So I think OKC is in a great spot, and I think even if they just get to the Western Conference Finals, that's an absolute success. If they get to the Western Conference Finals and lose to Nuggets, like, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But honestly, like, I do think Denver can be beaten. I really, really do. And so I would not be shocked if OKC is playing either the Timberwolves or Denver, and they can get to the finals. Like, I'm not saying I'm predicting that it's going to happen. And if you really said you have to make a decision right now, I would say I don't think that's what's going to happen. But it's absolutely in the realm of the possibility. I was very confident that the Lakers were not going to win in Denver. I was like, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. I said, OKC is going to beat the Pelicans. And I've been saying that actually about the Clippers, although it's with Kawhi, that they're going to beat the Mavs. Without doubt, the Timberwolves are going to beat Phoenix. Once we start getting to these other games, I think it's anyone's guess, which is what's so exciting. And anyone who wants to act like they know, they are lying. It is just an absolute roll of the dice at this point. A lot of these teams they're matched up so interestingly with amazing players and some youth and prime and experience, and you just have no idea how it's all gonna, come together. So I really can't wait. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about OKC? Are you impressed with the sweep by the Thunder? And do you think that shows that they can get to the Western Conference Finals or beat the Nuggets, or dare I say even win a title? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.